avoiding care unless it was absolutely necessary, or I could work out some way to swing it and still pay all my other bills. I first started seeing him because of one of the 10 million terrible, horrible, no good, very bad urinary tract infections of my life. I was impressed at first because he was so open to my ideas and suggestions. I was also able to get an Ativan prescription from him, so I may have been momentarily blinded by the heady lust of deep pharmaceutical gratitude. Looking back, it seems clear that unless I could mostly be my own doctor and tell him what was wrong with me and what to do about it, he was not going to have any idea and would make a couple big bad calls once I wasn't the one with the ideas. One afternoon in that first week of November, at the increasingly tender age of 43, I suddenly felt dizzy. I lost a little time, I think. I was having a hard time breathing. My solar plexus and the area around it felt tight. I tried to slow down, take deep breaths. It didn't work. My neck and face felt weird, like I had a really bad sunburn. My head was rolling. I started to freak out. I tried to level myself out and calm the hell down. I went through the reasons I could be feeling that way. The mysterious chronic pain I'd been living with for a few years. A migraine. The fact that I ran an always barely afloat grassroots nonprofit and so had valid reasons to panic every minute of every day. My on-again, off-again seizure disorder. Smoking too many cigarettes, something I thought of while smoking after this happened to try and calm myself down. Too much coffee, see above. Or was this the big one? The nervous breakdown that would finally break me, which I had always figured was a when in my life rather than an if. Did I forget to eat? Was I just looking for an excuse for a day off? I didn't have any way to get myself to the doctor and didn't want to call an ambulance because they're expensive as hell. I tried to wait it out so as not to bother my then partner, now ex. I got too scared, so about an hour later I gave up and called. We went to the clinic and we waited a million years, as you do. When I got to see the doctor, I told him what I had experienced, and I explained that I was still feeling out of sorts and panicky. He and his staff took my pulse and my blood pressure, which were low as always. They did an EKG. It was also normal. You've got to wonder why, then, he chose to send me to a hospital across the water in Seattle by ambulance to have possible heart issues evaluated. You've got to wonder why that hospital ran somewhere in the vicinity of $6,000 worth of tests on my poor, uninsured heart. They were making sure I wasn't having a heart attack, obviously, but God knows why, because that bill sure gave me one. I saw about 10 different healthcare providers that night. I heard a lot about how this was so confusing, how they couldn't figure out what was going on, what a mystery it all was. Despite my age, my assigned sex, and what I was presenting with, no one mentioned perimenopause. No one considered the possibility that I might have been experiencing a hot flash paired with a panic attack, a notoriously common experience in perimenopause. I didn't know that then. It appears no one else did either. It clearly did not occur to my doctor or any of the clinical staff that the episode might have something to do with menopause. It did not occur to the EMTs in the ambulance, who were making a great game of trying to play detective about my symptoms, but didn't ask any questions about anything pertaining to menopause. While we're here, if you haven't had to piss into a bedpan in front of 3 people while squatting in an ambulance on a moving ferry, you truly haven't lived. It did not occur to anyone at the hospital, who also did not ask any questions that might lead them down that road. I know now, having since had thousands of them, that I'd obviously had a hot flash, but no one asked me about that. Had someone asked and described one to me, the night, and probably years after, would have taken a very different turn. How didn't I know about this? I was in my 40s when this happened. I still have ovaries and a uterus. I'm non-binary, but there's an F on my medical charts and my ID, a thing that generally leads people to certain anatomical assumptions. I've spent about half my life working in and around sexual, reproductive, and feminist health. I basically grew up in a hospital and have always been a compulsive reader, so doctor's office pamphlets, medical journal blurbs, parts of nursing books, and the ingredients of many cereals and shampoos have taken up residence in my